Here we go. I have to videotape all the bodies. And Kira. Okay.
Do you know where your fresh produce is coming from, across the country or even the globe? Do you know the conditions of the people who picked your grapes or your tomatoes? Very seldom do we know about the conditions from which our produce was grown, not to mention that it would be a lot more fresh if we grew it and picked it ourselves. Thankfully, there's something we can do about it. Community gardening is a way of growing your own produce right where you live with other members in your community. This phenomenon is growing quickly with over 550 programs in hundreds of communities across the country that grew from less than 20 programs in the 1970s, just over 40 years ago, as the University of Florida reports on their website. Community gardening is a great way to contribute to the sustainability of the environment that we live in, and I hope I challenge you today to get involved with one yourself. Each of you live in a community that has a potential for community gardening, and you've undoubtedly purchased fruits and vegetables that weren't grown and picked locally, which is why I think this topic is applicable to all of you. I recently was an intern at an organization in Akron when I was able to see community gardens in action and see the benefits that it can bring to the children and the families that live there, while also benefiting the city of Akron. So while talking to you today about community gardening, I'll be telling you about what it is, some of the history, and also why it positively affects our environment and one another, and also why you should participate in one yourself. So first, I'm going to discuss with you exactly what community gardening is and a little bit of the history. So the University of Florida defines a community garden on their website as a plot of land around which neighborhoods can come together on individual or family plots to grow food and build community. And actually, the idea of a community garden is not new. It dates back to about the time of the Industrial Revolution, and probably back a lot farther. And also, it was very prominent in World Wars I and II, and they were coined the term victory gardens as a way to feed the troops and the civilians. In more recent times, First Lady Michelle Obama planted her own on the White House lawn with local school children in an effort to encourage healthy food choices. And also, the U.S. Department of Agriculture began its own People's Garden Initiative in 2009 that's created hundreds of gardens in communities all over the nation. So now I want to move on to why community gardens are so important for the sustainability of our environment and the enrichment of the communities in which we live. So these community gardens have been shown to have a multitude of benefits for the community and its members, and the Community Food Service Coalition outlines them on their website. So the first important benefit is the health of the community members. These gardens encourage healthier nutrition and eating habits, along with the physical exercise that comes along with the gardening. The second benefit relates to the ecology of our environment. These gardens promote a greener environment, which relates to sustainability, and they also promote biodiversity of the area. Socially and culturally, these gardens are also beneficial. They encourage a sense of coalition in the community, and research has been shown that communities with many participants in the gardens have lower crime rates, higher amount of voters, and an increase in civil responsibility. Another benefit is food security for the community. Gardens are a way to feed the hungry in the area and also provide extra food in case of a shortage. These gardens are also a benefit to the local economy. Families are able to stretch their budget farther with urban gardening and use their money in other ways. Also, these fruits and vegetables can be sold at a local farmer's market to give their profits to the gardeners for their efforts. Gardens can also increase the property value of the neighboring homes and beautify the area. The last benefit is the education provided to the children and the families. They're able to learn how plants grow and develop, along with how the land and the seasons affect the growing process. And aside from these benefits I've named, there are two other ways I want to talk to you about how community gardens can help us help the environment and see an improvement in the way we get our food and the quality it has. So the Community Food Service Coalition has said that the average food item in a supermarket travels about 1,400 miles before reaching the consumer, which requires about 10 calories of energy to deliver 1 calorie of food. Not to mention the massive amounts of fuel and pollution from the vehicles that transport this food across the country. The money we pay for this food also goes to the store and most likely leaves the community that it's from instead of helping the community where it is. So another important fact of store-bought produce is the amount of pesticides and fertilizers that are not good for our bodies or the environment. Our country uses about 8.7 pounds of pesticides per person per year. So community gardens are a better, healthier alternative without the use of harmful pesticides or food that has been shipped for far distances. So with this brief overview of what community gardening is and why it's so beneficial for us and those in our neighborhoods and communities, I want to summarize and wrap up what I've shared with you today. So now I've given you the knowledge and outlined the many benefits of the effects that gardening can have in a community. Gardening in urban areas is actually not a new concept, and in more recent years the trend is growing. With many people working together for a common good that can greatly benefit themselves as well as others around them, I think good things will happen. So do you want to be a part of making your community a better place while promoting sustainability of the environment in which we live? Do you want to see the poor be fed, the children be educated, and the economy be boosted? I'm challenging you all today to strongly consider getting involved in community gardening and receiving all the benefits that it can bring. And I believe that if we had at least one garden in each community across the country, our nation would look much differently. Teaching the next generation about ways to sustain our environment is important, but I think it's important that we learn how to be sustainers of the environment ourselves, here and now. Community gardening is just one way we can do so. So be a part of something that can change your community's health, economy, environment, social interaction, education, and much more. Join a community garden and become a part of the change. Thank you.
6:22.
Good.
What was you supposed to be in, 5 and 7?